Trevor Broadway here. It's great to be back in front of a camera with you again. And today I am joined by my colleagues here, Kelsey Rosen, who is our risk and safety manager, and Trevor John, who's our patrol manager. We're going to talk to you a little bit about January, which is the National Ski Area Association Safety Month. And here at Solitude, we've got some great activities planned for you. But first, Trevor, one of the things I thought might be great for our guests, like we do a lot with signage. We've got information on our website. We've got signage on the mountain. We've got ropes and warnings. But what else? Like right now, it's been a different snow year than last, right? There's been far less snow, a little leaner. Less when you have leaner snow years, less terrain. You know, Trevor here has little kids like me. I know when I'm out on the hill, some things that I'm always thinking about, particularly when the snow conditions are a little more sporty, as I like to call them. I always like to really check in my speed. Nothing like keeping the speed under control. And then things for me are, it's really a fun time to kind of focus on really picking your line. Like never more than right now when you have unmarked obstacles and rocks and things, like trying to figure out the best way to kind of poke your way down the hill. And the great thing about that, again, it just kind of like brings everything in control. And then for me, like when I'm on the hill with my kids, like I just feel like my head is always on a swivel. Just constantly like looking around, and I'm a little bit old school. Like I grew up, I like to still point when I'm like kind of crossing a big area like this. I still like to say on your left, on your right. That's again a little bit dating myself, but what are some things that you might, you know, some tips and tricks that you might have for people too?
Honestly, Amber, you nailed it. That's the biggest one, head on a swivel. Give space is a big thing around here. We've had, like Amber said, we're smaller terrain, so we're a little bit tighter and more closed in. So heed that 15 feet of space. If you're starting to encroach on folks, just go full stop, let them clear. Really understand that responsibility code. If folks are below you, they have the right of way. It's up to you above the person to be the one that yields. Be certain that if you're coming into a run, you're looking uphill. Like Amber said, I have little kids too, so that's the biggest thing that I teach them. You gotta have your head spinning around all the time and really paying attention to what other people are doing. You know, sometimes you can't control what other folks are doing, so that's why having that head on a swivel is so critical, so you can make those invasive maneuvers and actions to get out of their way. And then the other big one is certainly heed the signs. So if you're coming to a ski area you've never skied before, if you're from out of state, by all means, please read all of our signage, read our tickets, read our maps, read what we have on the website. There's tons of really good information about safe skiing and about our particular mountain that we're looking for safety and kind of our regulations and how our mountain runs. It's a little bit different than everywhere else.
Yeah. And I think a couple things, like particularly our Icon Pass holders, we, when you ski various resorts, you know, it's just know that each resort is a little different. And so the way we do signage, the way we do rope lines, the type of terrain, even greens and blues and blacks, when you go from the East Coast to the West, those can change. So definitely like learning a bit about it before you go. The other thing is with the responsibility code, you know, is really like, I always think about like defensive, like go slow and with the flow. And you know, especially in big merge areas, which you see behind us, is like you do have to be a little bit more defensive, and in the same way that people teach about driving, that can help you. One of the things I know with my daughter, I especially focus on is when she loves to be in the woods. She loves all those rabbit holes, which are super fun here at Solitude. But when you come out of the woods onto a trail, you actually need to heed to the people on the trail. And that's one thing with her that we've been really trying to work on is like when you're coming out of the woods and you're gonna end up on one of the trails, you do need to check your speed and make sure that you're not gonna come out and hit somebody. I don't know if that's something that sometimes happens, you see in the patrol.
Yeah, absolutely, and oftentimes it is the little kids. They have so much stimuli coming by them as they're cruising through the trees. They're certainly not paying attention to what's going on just outside the trees. So yeah, that's we haven't seen many injuries for that, you know, but I think we do a pretty good job of educating our guests in that and putting rope lines in and merge lines and things. But yeah. And
then just reminders, terrain park, you know, terrain park safety. Kelsey will talk a little bit about, but just make sure you know, there's called Smart Style. You should always check out the park before you go in. You know, make a plan. If you haven't been in the terrain parks, you know, be cautious if you're gonna go in there, where you're gonna stand. But it's really important when you go into the terrain parks here. We have small and medium features that you're checking things out. You know, don't try features that are outside of your skills and ability. And the biggest is to check things out and before you decide to hit some of those features. Okay, so, and it's like big thanks because, you know, Trevor and his team, when our guests don't make good decisions about either their own speed or if they don't heed the warning signs and the rope lines, it's these guys who are coming, these guys and gals who are coming to help you out. And it's, you know, we did have some issues early on this year, especially with people ducking rope lines. And we actually even had some situations where our patrollers were trying to prevent people from ducking these ropes. And, you know, we don't want you in certain terrain for a couple of important reasons. One is avalanche, avalanche hazard, which impedes over 75% of this mountain. We're actually gonna have a talk here shortly. The other is just, it's for them, it's for your safety. And also, if you go in somewhere you shouldn't be and you get hurt, these guys are gonna come. They shouldn't have to, but they are gonna come. And now it means our staff are gonna be putting themselves in higher risk as well. And I just, you know, I don't, that doesn't wear lightly on me. So please, you know, be good stewards and follow the rope lines and signs.
Yeah, just to reiterate on that, I appreciate you saying that. So I gotta say, it's the worst part of our job. We hate doing that. Please just heed the warnings. You know, like Amber says, we're going out into these thin areas with toboggans, and we need to safely get our crew out of there. And we need to stay within a certain amount of time to make sure if there is an injured person that we can keep them alive. So that's a big part of why we're doing some of those early season closures.
Yep.
I appreciate you saying that.
Okay, so Kelsey, tell us a little bit. Today we have an avalanche talk by the time this video posts. Tell us about the last few events that we've got planned for NSAA Safety Month.
Yeah, so the month of January is dedicated to skier and rider responsibility and mountain safety. So Solitude has put up some events for you guys. We have dispatch and patrol shack tours coming up, pancakes with patrol, and a rail jam, which is not strictly a rail jam. It's gonna be a learning process. So it's open for beginners to advanced, and you're gonna be able to talk with train park guys and figure out how to hit those features.
Yeah, and one of the reasons we wanted to do the dispatch and patrol shack open houses was to give our guests an opportunity to meet patrol in their world, on their turf, and just learn a little bit more about what they're doing. We know, you know, when they're on the hill, their primary job is to be in positions where they can respond to injuries. That's the primary function of what they do. And that means we have to keep patrol in those particular locations at all times in order to be able to respond. The other thing is pancake with patrollers. I think we'll probably have an Abby dog there, and I think we'll have some of the gear. You'll be able to see like a sled and their pack. So Trevor here, look at this. There's a big bag, and it's got lots of important stuff in it, and it's super heavy. And so they're gonna be able to show you guys a little bit about the airbags, the whistles, all the first aid, and what they carry all the time while they're on the hill in order to be ready to help your guests out if you need it. So, guys, you got anything else out there? Okay.
Nailed it.
All right. Well, again, thank you for participating with us in NSAA Safety Month. If you haven't freshened up on the responsibility code, please do. It has changed a little bit from previous years. And just, you know, again, take it slow, go with the flow, always looking around. And, you know, our goal is for you to come here and have a great experience on the snow. Our goal is for you not to end up needing Trevor, even though he's amazing.
I don't want to meet you.
Exactly. He doesn't want to meet you except in these cool events. So I'll see you in a couple weeks.